Hi, in this session we will learn about what are the interview questions and answers on flow, workflow, process builder and approval process along with scenario based examples. So here is the first question is what is the difference between flow and workflow? Flow is a declarative tool that allows you to automate business processes and collect data, while workflow is a rule-based automation that triggers action based on specified criteria. Okay, next question is how do you pass data between flow and workflow? Data can be passed between flow and workflow by using variables, field update, or record updates. Okay, got it. Question number third. Can you trigger a flow from workflow? No, flows cannot be triggered directly from workflow. However, you can use workflow to trigger a flow by updating a specific field that the flow is listening for. Okay, what is the difference between flow and process builder? Flow provides more flexible control over business processes, allowing for complex logic and decision making, while process builder is a simplified tool for building basics workflow and automation. How do you handle bulk data processing in flow? By using a loop element in flow, you can process records in bulk. For example, you can loop through a collection of records and perform specific action on each record. How can you handle records update in flow when bulk processing? By using the fast update element in flow, you can perform bulk record update efficiently without the need for additional queries or loops. Got my point? Question number seven. What is the purpose of an approval processes? An approval process automates the approval or rejection of records based on predefined criteria. It allows for the routing of records to the appropriate approvers and track the approval history. Can you update fields in an approval process? Yes, you can update field in an approval process using field updates. These updates can be performed based on a specific condition or action taken during the approval process. How can you specify different approval steps in an approval process? You can define different approval steps in an approval process by configuring the criteria-based evolution of each step. Each step can its own set of criteria, approvers, and actions. Can you have multiple approval process for the same object? Yes, you can have multiple approval process for the same object. Each approval process can have different entry and workflow action. Got my point? Question number 11. How can you skip an approval step in an approval process? You can skip an approval step in approval process by using skip or bypass option based on specific conditions on criteria. As when you create a approval process, there is an option for skip or bypass option. You can select that. Okay. Can you trigger a flow from an approval process? Yes, you can trigger a flow from an approval process by using an Apex trigger or process builder to initiate the flow based on the approval outcome. How do you handle complex business processes in process builder? You can handle complex business processes in process builder by using a combination of criteria, actions, and schedule actions. Additionally, you can leverage invocable Apex action for more advanced functionality. Can you schedule action in process builder? Yes, you can schedule actions in Process Builder using the schedule action features. This allows you to define actions to be executed at specific times or based on time triggers. How do you handle recurring or self-trigger flows in Process Builder? To prevent recursive or self-triggering flows in Process Builder, you can use a stop element combined with specific criteria to execute the flow under certain conditions. Can you call an Apex class from Process Builder? Yes, you can call an Apex class from Process Builder by using an invocable Apex action. This allows you to execute custom logic or integrate with external systems. How can you handle exception or errors in Flow or Process Builder? Flow and Process Builder provides error handling capabilities. You can use decision elements, fault connectors, and error screens to handle exception and guide user through error scenarios. What is recommended best practice for choosing between Flow, Workflow, Process Builder, and Apex? It is recommended to choose the most appropriate tool based on the complexity of business processes. Flow and Process Builder are suitable for declarative automation, while Workflow and Apex are used for simpler tasks or when more control is required. Can you trigger a flow based on a time-based event? Yes, you can trigger a flow based on time-based event by using a combination of process builder and schedule actions. How can you handle approval rejections in flow or process builder? In flow or process builder, you can define actions on or approval or processes to handle approval rejections. For example, you can send notification, update fields, or reroute the record for further review. Here some more scenario based question which were asked in workflow, process builder, and approval process. Uh, you have a custom object called expense report with a field name, total amount. You want to automate the process of flagging expense report for review. If the total amount exceeds a certain threshold, how would you accomplish this using workflow or process builder? In this scenario, you can use a workflow or process builder to create rules that trigger when an expense report is created or updated. Set the criteria to check if the total amount exceeds the threshold, then define the action to update the flag such as review required to true. Got my point? Scenario 22. You need to update multiple related records when a specific field on an object is modified. How would you approach this using workflow or process builder? To update multiple related records, workflow is not suitable as it only allows for update of the current record. Got my point? Workflow only allowed the current record which will be updated. This will not update that key. Basically, you have not rights to update the related records in workflow. Okay, in this case, you can use process builder to define a process that triggers when the specific field is modified. Use criteria to identify the related record and set actions to update the desired field on those related records. Process builder gives me the related records to you can update the related of current record of the related record. Scenario 23. You have an approval process for a custom object called order request. When an order request is submitted, it should be routed for approval based on the request amount. How would you configure the approval process to handle this? In approval process, for the order request object, you can define multiple approval steps. Set the entry criteria of each step based on the request amount. Configure the appropriate approvers for each step and specify any necessary action or notifications. Scenario 24. You need to automate the creation of child record when a specific field on a parent record is modified. How would you accomplish this using Flow or Process Builder? To automate the creation of a child record, you can use either Flow or Process Builder. With Flow, you can create a screen flow that triggers on the field modification, collect the necessary automation for the child record, and perform auto create action. In Process Builder, set the criteria based on the field modification and define an action to create the child record with the required field. Got my point? Question number 25 scenario. You would you want to update a field on an object only if a related record meets certain criteria. How would you achieve this using workflow or process builder? In workflow, you cannot directly reference field from related record. As we discussed earlier, in workflow, you cannot update the related records, only the current record will be updated. So, in workflow, you cannot directly reference field from related records. However, in process builder, you can utilize a get record element to retrieve the related record based on the criteria. Then use decision criteria to check the desired condition and update the field on the object accordingly. Scenario 26. You have a requirement to send email notification to specific user when an opportunity state is updated to closed one. How would you accomplish by this by using workflow or process builder? Both, you can use both. Workflow and process builder can handle this requirement. In workflow, you can create a rule with criteria to trigger when the opportunity changes to close one, define an email alert action to send notification to the specific users. Similarly, in process builder, set the criteria based on the stage update and define an immediate action to send an email alert to the designated recipients. So this is all about the scenario based process builder flows and workflows. So thank you guys. Bye.